Hey, what's going on, guys? So it's John with Just Thoughts. Basically, I've been kind of like, resting. The trip that I took over to Zion National Park had a significant impact on my, you know, physical body, and basically, I'm just trying to rest up, right? And I thought that it would be extremely important to start talking about how the majority of the benefits that we've currently been able to feel and to express on a physical manner have basically given us the opportunity not only to inhabit and feel internally good about the direction that we're currently going throughout the society, but I think it's also extremely important for us to start imagining different ways and different pathways for us to be able to find success and find happiness, and be able to deliver that to different groups in different areas that might not have the best environment, so that they can be successful in whatever direction or endeavor that they currently want to go to, right? And what I think that we should, like, one of the interesting parts about how I think the benefits that humanity have been able to create are like through technological processes, right? Like usually people envision or inhabit this idea that the technological processes are steady in pace with people's with humanity's own progression, right? There's a famous quote that says something along the lines of we're uh, ape-like humans that have like godlike technology, and our personal or ideological differences basically haven't been able to catch up with the amount of new technology that's been able to create such amount of change throughout society, right? And one of the interesting parts that I think is like extremely important for us to start analyzing, for us to start talking about, is the fact that right now we have a situation where like a huge majority of not only the United States but also in other countries have had there's this internal feeling of this separation that has happened, and it's been able to be closed, I think, a little bit with the new inventions, with new technologies that we've been able to create. One of the best examples, I think, is like cryptocurrencies, right? Like before, like within the last like 20 years, like the majority of the financial tools that people had access to were basically secluded to like one section of the population, right? Which is awful. We shouldn't have a situation where you were unable to access like the benefits of um, the capitalist system that has basically made it so good for us to be able to live and to be able to have those resources, right? And to a select population, that's horrible. We should be aware of when those situations happen and do what we can to make sure that we change those situations for the benefit not only of us internally, but also just for the benefit of humanity, right? And one of the examples is like cryptocurrencies. Um, Along with that, I also think that it's like extremely important to like start analyzing some of the like what is the next step, right? I think that right now, one of the benefits that I think is extremely important to start talking about is a basic income, right? That's one of the starting points, right? Like now that we've acknowledged the fact that the reason that we have like people that are in super high levels of success and are financially independent and don't necessarily have to worry about like all of the little tidbit issues that the majority of people have to worry about when you're not financially independent are entirely due to the fact that they just didn't have the correct environment, they didn't have the tools necessary to be able to enjoy those benefits, right? And when you have those kind of situations going on, there's an obvious situation where people become aware of some of those difficulties, right? I've spoke before on the fact that there are millions of people that have already had a basic income, right? Already had a basic income. Why don't we expand that? Why don't we make sure that the opportunities and resources aren't being siphoned off due to environment? Why? That's one of the first things, right? And speaking back on the technological processes, I think that it's extremely important for us to start analyzing the fact that if we have like the direction that I see society and humanity going is kind of in a twofold manner, right? So the first manner, I think that there's a homeostasis that we have to be aware of on a planetary basis, right? There is a certain yin yang balance that a lot of people have been able to experience bestow on different people, and then like gives them a sense of meaning, purpose, because they're aware that the external world, there's an internal feeling, and there's like spirituality that you have to be cognizant of, you have to wrestle with, so that you have a good way of being able to understand not only yourself but just the external world. And then when you like acknowledge that, when you're like, oh, like we're a part of this huge conglomerate thing, and this huge conglomerate thing is something that is organic, and there's an internal like resonance that you feel when you know that you're a part of this massive thing. And then and acknowledging the fact that there's like there's also, on that same exact idea where you have something that's like organic and you're a part of it, there's also this separation, right? This separation is usually due to the fact that we have people that are just in different domains, mentally, spiritually, physically, and environmentally, geolocationally, and one of the interesting parts about that is that like humanity has basically given you an opportunity, I think personally, to be able to experience the benefits of life, right? But if these experiences of life have been hindered due to environment or due to any of those factors that I just mentioned, then there's something that should be given to you, right? Like in the previous video, I had mentioned that I think that a basic income should be provided because like there's a certain like building block of humanity that was essentially taken away from you. We should provide that back. But I also think like on a species, global existential technology that is basically you know growing faster than we can keep up with it. If we're thinking about becoming a planetary species, right? If we're considering this idea that it might be in our best interest to become a multiplanetary species due to the fact that things on Earth might not be as good, or we're not going to have enough, you know, stuff here to be able to, supply the majority of humanity, and that's the best option, right? And we're thinking that that's going to be the second option. Either we, stay here and become, focused on this homeostasis, or we could become a, planetary species. The planetary species seems much more enticing, right? There's a certain, internal feeling that you get because we have these media establishments and we have these groups that have inspired us. We have stories. There's something mythopoetic about the idea of becoming a multiplanetary species, right? And I think that that's extremely important. I think that that inspires people. That brings a certain amount of value and importance, and it's crucial for us to keep that because that's extremely important. As Elon Musk said, we have to have something to look forward to, and I'm so thankful that we've had people that are able to model that ideal and then bring that into creation, right? That's something that's pivotal. It's extremely important because like usually when you think of your ability to be able to inspire other people and to be able to pass down, a legacy that's been given to you, that inspires people, right? My problem is that if there's a huge section of the population that really plans on going, right, and they're going to be gone, they're going to, like the benefits that they're going to have are going to be incomparable in correlation to, just being an average citizen, a guy making $50,000 a year, right? What are we going to do about this other 7.7 billion people? You know what I mean? Like, it's in my opinion that we've had a situation, right, where the benefits of being able to separate our population haven't been the detriments of being able to separate our populations haven't been examined, right? And I think that like if we start analyzing more of these situations, if we start like asking people like, hey, would you be cool with, like let's say 10% of the population being able to leave Earth, and the other 90% of the population being stuck here due to the fact that they didn't have the correct environmental habitation, or due to the fact that their ticket was taken away from them due to their environment or resources or whatnot. Like the majority of, especially Americans, would be like, nah, fuck that. That's horrible. That's a bad idea. Like it makes no sense for us to be able to like have that kind of situation, right? And one of the interesting things is that what we're doing is we're building foundational objects, right? That's the metaphoric meaning, but like on a physical, on a real note, like we have billionaires that are basically creating new ways for us to be able to, get the fuck out, off planet. You know what I mean? Which is great, as I mentioned. Um, but yeah, I think we should start focusing our attention on a whole lot more of the other 7.7 billion people that might not have the same opportunity basically to reach success, reach happiness, or get the fuck off the planet. Um, but yeah, that's basically what I've been thinking about, and it's entirely due to the fact that I'm definitely reading a book that's that mentions some of those kind of things, and I just wanted to, like, if you're with the channel, you think the information is entertaining, you think it's funny, that's what I'm currently dabbling into. Now, usually what I don't do, I never go into like conspiratory, kind of stuff, because like it's not, that's not something that really gets me off. But what I think that we should start talking about, that I think is extremely important, is the fact that there is a section of the population that is considering this move, and if we're not open to having this kind of conversation, then the majority of not only Americans but just people around the world are going to start becoming, aware of this kind of impending doom kind of situation, and we're all going to be scrambling for $1 million ticket, right? And and it also speaks to like, this would be the first time essentially that we're there's going to be a generation that essentially gets to experience something that's completely, you know alien, literally alien, right? New planet, right? How do we negotiate what groups get to be a part of that group? Is it going to be based on financial access, or should it be based on something different, right? Should it be based on, like, you know somebody's ability to be able to create value? Should it be based on somebody's ability to be able to uh, you know create good content? You know what I mean? Like, how do we justify the segregation and the tools that we use to be able to segregate people? That's the question. So yeah, if you like that information and you think that the conversation has been interesting, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for being able to watch the video. Have a great day.